In this Lit Happens video, I'm going to take you through some strategies for the reading to write module, especially when looking at examining wide reading or related text and using that as an opportunity to examine your students' skills and build upon them as well. Using a table to do this is really useful because not only can you use this table as a whole class, but you can actually use it as an opportunity for students to have a bit of a blind read of their related or wide reading material and examine it themselves and see how they go in filling in what they can interpret within the text. It's a great visual for them to see any gaps in their learning and let you know as well what kind of needs to be covered further. And some ways to do this is to get them to consider not just text, author and summary, but then get into the deeper aspects. Do they know any context in their piece? Can they identify any genre or style elements or text type form in their piece? What seems to be the purpose that the author, the messaging that the author is conveying, and who might his or her intended audience be? What might be the reaction that they want to gain from their audience? Then another thing they can do is consider how it links to the reading to write rubric. So in what ways is this as an effective, aesthetic, strong piece of writing? In what ways are they being told to consider or respond to some of the key ideas? And then getting into, well, what are some ideas that they identify? Any issues or concerns for analysis? And then finally, the evidence, the language, what techniques are at play here. Are they poetic ones? Are they persuasive ones? Are they more prose fiction based techniques? This is actually going to allow your students to get a sense of what they can do independent and allow you to then inform your teaching, and also a great way to introduce to them the idea of short answer text analysis, which is again a skill they're going to need, and they're going to be able to do that in the HSC in future as well. When you've done sort of doing some analysis and you're considering how the author started to or work towards creating a response and creating their piece of writing, it's good for students to break down the purpose of audience and context. Not only does that help them examine a text, but hopefully you can use it as a springboard for them to consider, if they were to change the purpose, how would that change meaning in the text? If their audience was, a more contemporary or an older audience or a very specific type of group of people, how might that change meaning, and how might a new context allow for new ideas to come forth as well? And they're really building their muscle here for not only understanding purpose, audience and context, but in considering how it changes meaning, so that they can in future create their own piece of writing with their own purpose, audience and context in mind.